What's going on, everybody? Good morning. It's Tuesday morning. So, the last couple days, as tragic as they are, they seem to be good training for the rest of everybody that's not affected by what's going on. If you're around everything, then it is, you know, shit hits the fan for you. But for the rest of the people, it is a good training. It's a good learning experience. It's, do we have what we need to make it through whatever calamity is happening? You take the hurricane, things like that. Do you have your extra water, your food, or your provisions put up in a location to where they could withstand something like that? There's so many things within the last couple of days that have happened in quick succession. Some man-made, some natural causes. Hurricane. What was it in Georgia? Some kind of, not power plant, but some kind of chemical plant exploded and it released a bunch of chlorine gas into the air. And do you have some kind of respirator or a gas mask or something like that? Do you have extra filters at your home to clean the air? And down there it said shelter in place order was put in place. I don't know if it's been lifted yet, but the last I heard it was still in place. You need things to clean your air, regardless if you're waiting for a nuclear attack on America, or a chemical plant explodes, or a train derails. Remember a year or two ago, was it up in Pennsylvania or Ohio? I can't remember. There was a train that derailed and it was a big chemical whatever spill. Do you have things to protect your home, to seal it up? Extra, plastic film to put on your windows to seal up any cracks that you have. Extra filters, like I said. Protective gear for yourself. You don't need a high-end, $500 suit to protect you from things. You can go to Harbor Freight and buy the liners, paint liners and things like that to help protect you. And duct tape and rubber gloves. I'm not a big fan of rubber, but I see it does have a purpose when you need it in an emergency. Things like that you need to be aware of. Something also big happened yesterday. Verizon went out, and I'm trying to think of what could possibly do that. And apparently it wasn't just Verizon. It was T-Mobile and AT&T. They all had some kind of malfunction. They all either went down or the service was really, really bad and didn't work for a while. And I am trying to think of what would cause all that. Could it be some kind of cyber attack? Could it be something like that? It could, but I'm leaning more to the hurricane and everybody freaking out and calling, making sure everybody's safe, obviously things like that. That's what I'm more inclined to think. I remember quite a few years ago, Virginia had an earthquake. It wasn't major, but you could definitely feel it. Man, this was I want to say almost 10 years ago, probably longer than that. But I remember the cell service went away just because everybody was calling everybody. Oh my God, did you feel that? Oh my God, And so when a lot of people use their phones at one time, it overloads the system and they can't use it. That's what I'm more inclined to think what happened yesterday. But again, it could possibly be some kind of cyber attack. Over the last few years, we have seen multiple cyber attacks in America, from pipelines to cell phones to, malicious spam and things like that in companies. in public and private sectors. We've seen multiple companies have their information stolen. 23andMe, they had their info stolen. There's so many cyber attacks going on. You don't know if it's just an overload or a malfunction. It could be either or. Nobody really knows, unless you're high up in the government, and they're not going to tell us what's happening. So I would prepare for not having a phone. That's one of those things that people get reliant on all the time. You go on Google, you ask it a question, you click a button, you order something, you order your food, you call your friend, you make sure your kids are okay. Anyway, the phone has become the center of our world, America and most of the country, really. But cell phones, as useful as they are, I see them as a crutch, as a vice, man. It's like heroin. It's addicting. Cell phones are addicting. Facebook is addicting. YouTube is addicting. The convenience of having a phone is the addicting thing for people. It makes you lazy. It really does. Before you had to go to the library and look through a bunch of books to find what you need. You actually had to investigate and do things. And now you just go on and type whatever, and whatever pops up is what you see, is what you believe. So we need to learn to not live with cell phones, or at least not rely on them as much. Maybe go pick up some walkie-talkies for you and your family to get a hold of each other, or get your ham license, or get a CB radio so you can be in contact with the world. Get a little weather radar, or weather what do you call it, radio, the ones that wind up. They have a flashlight and things like that on it. That way you have something to fall back onto in case your phone's down. Get a satellite phone. Those are pretty expensive from what I understand. I've never looked into them. I've heard they are expensive, so I don't know. But if you have the funds and that's something that you're interested in, go for it. I would prepare to have our communication severely interrupted, especially with Soros buying the radio stations, and the media has already been bought out a long time ago, and he's buying more of them to control more of the narrative. I wouldn't believe what most of the stuff you hear on the internet anyway. I would do your own research on it. I would look up your own, don't just go to a website and look up the information. Some random person saying it, just like me, just like anybody, anybody that's saying something on the internet. Go to the source of what they're saying, look it up, and see for yourself. And look at, hard facts. Look at documents. I go to a lot of stuff I look up. It comes from the whitehouse.gov. Border report. I look their stuff up on the border.gov and see the information. And that could be skewed too, sure. It could be, misinformation as well. But at least that's closer to accurate, I guess. You just need to have a way to find your own information when cell phones go away. Because that could just be a test run. Like I said, they're not the first cell phone company that went down for a while. And I certainly guarantee they will not be the last. But going over that, the cell phone, the big thing on the news right now that I see a lot of people talking about, we've been talking about it for a while now, is the port strike. As many people are aware, at midnight last night, the union and the company didn't come to terms. They shot down a 50% increase in pay. And I really don't, I'm assuming they want more money as well, but I don't think it's so much about the pay. I think they're more worried about the automation being enacted, because you can make all the money in the world, but if you can get robots to do the the work, you don't need people. And sorry, man, I feel like my kid was sick the other day. I feel like I'm starting to get sick now too. But that's the big thing right now is the strike on the East Coast. Mix that in with the hurricane that just happened. The East Coast is essentially shut down for all intents and purposes. It's at a standstill between things not coming in because of the strike and the gridlock on the lower East Coast. The roads are literally not even there anymore. They're gone. Like major hubs are totally wiped out, gone. They're saying people down North Carolina, majorly hit areas, it's going to be weeks before they can even drink any of the water, if not months. So they will need help. They need supplies down there. Supplies that isn't being shipped in now because of the strike. There's a lot of things on the East Coast right now are culminating together. That's not looking good. So if you are in the situation of that, I think everybody needs to pray for you. I've been praying a lot about it, hoping people get what they need to get. The material things or whatever, you can go without that. It sucks and unfortunate, but if you have your family, if you have your friends, your loved ones, they're safe. That's the most important thing right now. So we all need to be grateful for the people that survive, and I guess mourn the people that were lost. I couldn't imagine that. But just know that these things that have come to pass are stepping stones for what could potentially happen in this country. As bad as they were, as horrible, as horrific, and as terrifying as they may be, they are the stepping stones of what would happen in a major catastrophe. If an EMP happened, and it wiped out all electricity, do you understand how bad that would be? Like, I hear people talk about it, and I read comments online about, oh yeah, I'm ready for it, and nobody is ready for that. Even the most off-grid people are not ready for that, because the most off-grid people get a lot of their supplies from logistics. You might be off grid, but if you go to town once a month to buy resupply, to buy your flour and your sugar and all that, it's going to affect everybody. Forever, how long this strike lasts, it will affect everybody in some way or shape. Between jobs, my job will be affected. I guarantee many other people's jobs will be affected from it. I'm in the delivery business. I deliver packages. If things aren't being shipped in, I have nothing to deliver. And today is the first day of it. I'm going into work. I'm sure it will be probably a normal-ish day, just because it is the first day. But over the next few days, I can imagine it would be a lot lighter routes. I can imagine a lot of things not coming in equals a lot of people not having work. That just is common sense to me. And I said this before, like, I'm working on it with my soap company that I'm building. You need to find a way to, fortify your own income. Don't be reliant on a job that could go away in a half a second. Americans, as doomed and as done as this country is, as I still feel like people can monetize their own worth. We can do our own things. You know what I mean? We can start building in this country again. That will solve a lot of problems. They have us so reliant on the government, and you see how the government responds to things. They're not very good at it. They're, case in point, everything that's been going on right now. The hurricane, it's What did Biden say? Oh, we've done enough. That dude is the biggest disgrace to this country. We've done enough for them, but I think he just gave another $5 billion to or no, what was it? It was another $500 million after the other $500 million that he just gave to Taiwan. It's sad. It's disrespectful. It's what are the hurricane people victims? What do they get? A voucher for some food, maybe a couple $1 million in disaster fund, maybe if they're lucky. The government won't be there for you. You guys need to understand that. And going back to what I was saying is the comments that I see, the videos that I see of I'm ready. Like I was saying, nobody is ready for this. Nobody is ready for what is about to happen in this country. We need to humble ourselves and accept that we are not ready. That's why every day I try to get more ready. Because the closer I am to being more ready, then maybe the longer that I can survive with my family. Maybe the longer I can help my community out. We need to understand that the gravity of what potentially could happen if the power goes out. If what's happening with the cell phones is some kind of cyber attack. If the weather that's happening is some kind of, genetically modified weather, whatever, heart, blah, blah, blah stuff. Like, that could be a possibility, or it could just be hurricane season, and, stuff happens. Strikes happen. One to the scale hasn't happened in quite a few years, but they do happen. This one just happens to be at a really bad time when the East Coast is already underwater. And I don't mean to be funny there, but the East Coast is already, screwed up really bad. I'm not saying the West Coast is any better. I'd rather, be in hurricane territory than be on the West Coast right now. Their politics are so screwed up and twisted, and it's a literal shit show over there as well, with all the stealing and just people literally defecating in the road. The whole country needs Jesus. The whole world needs him. But I'm worried about America because that's where I live, and that's where I can do something, to where I can help people, to where I can talk to people about God. This country needs God. It needs Jesus. It needs the morals of the Bible more now than ever. You can see what has happened to America. If you look at the people that believe in God, Christianity, if you look at the statistics of when people stop going to church versus the crime rate and the just immoral, nasty stuff that's happened in America, you can see them cross like perfectly. It goes, one goes up and one goes down at like the same pace. But going back to it, use what's happening right now as a test run to see where your stuff is, see where your preps are at, see where you can strengthen them, see what skills that you can learn now, what you can do. Is your chainsaw ready to go? Is your canoe or raft ready to go? Is your bug out bag ready to go? We're going into winter. You got to change things out. Do you have enough food? Do you have enough water? Do you have things to seal up your house? Do you have a place to use the bathroom and a place to get rid of it? Do you have maps ready of your area? Do you know where your water sources are? Do you know how to clean your water? There are so many things to do. Whether you're a homesteader or a prepper or just like doing that stuff, it is good knowledge to know. You can be a jack of many trades and not be perfect in anything. But if you don't study and you don't practice anything, you're you're just like everybody else that watches, CNN. You're just like everybody else that watches just reality shows. Don't be a part of that. Don't be a part of the problem when we can literally see what is going on before our eyes. And it's not looking good. And it doesn't look like it's going to get any better for a good long while. It is up to us, up to as American citizens, and up to fathers and mothers and uncles and nieces and anybody else. It is up to us to protect our families, to protect our food, to protect our water, to protect our production in this country, what's left of it. Learn a skill. Learn how to be part of the, fixing things. Learn something. That's what I do every day. I try to learn something every day, and I put it to practice. You can read a book on something, and you can have an idea about something. Until you go to do it, you're never going to learn. You're not going to know how to do it unless you practice. You're not going to know if your preps are any good if you do not use them. If you have crap just sitting under your bed in the plastic, if you have the receipt still stapled to them, if you have totes full of crap that you don't use, you're never going to learn how to use them until you actually use some of them. I hope y'all have a great day. I think everybody needs to pray for the East Coast, America. Pray for the whole country, the whole world, really. There's just so many things going on right now. There's so many things that are happening. And it's hard to keep up and dive into everything. I'll read about it and see what I can find that's important to talk about. You turn on the news and you can find all these stories about nothing. You can find all these crazy stories that mean absolutely jack shit. The stories that you see on the mainstream media, 80, 85, 90% of them it's just filler. That nobody cares about this stuff. Nobody cares about the people in Hollywood. Nobody cares about songwriters and actresses. Nobody cares about, we shouldn't care about football. Football is just a distraction. Look at overpaid millionaires that cry and whine about everything. Especially soccer players, man. You know what I mean? All they do is bitch and complain. Oh, we're oppressed. I'm an oppressed millionaire. Don't follow these people. You need to follow God. Follow your heart. Follow your family. Show your family where to go. Show them how to prepare for a day where there is no electricity, where there is nobody coming to save you. Until then, I will talk to y'all later. I hope everybody has a great day. Bye.